right. It is February 4th,
It is
and we are the Intellectucool Show.
the Intellectucool Show
Yes, yes.
in the building.
And I don't know if you can't already tell a little bit. I'm actually on the other side of it. I'm actually like not sick at all, but Victor is a little sick.
I am.
You know,
I've been in the house for like 2 days,
Yeah.
and this is my first exploration outside, and I make sure when I do get sick that I really sit my ass down.
no, that's important.
Like for real,
Nah.
because I be wanting to do everything, and I'm
Yeah.
like, nah, I'm gonna just chill.
Nah, that shit's important, man. I just now am getting to that stage of life where I'm realizing it is about rest. Your body actually requires you to rest when you're sick, and you really set yourself back. If you give a damn about getting better at all, you will sit down. You know, you should sit down. It is a situation where like you should be asleep most of the time. You should be passing fluids. You should be doing all this stuff, because it's pretty important to you getting back on your toes. So
Yeah,
hopefully,
for me,
word to the wise.
I'd say I feel bad because like I be wanting to go work out, I be wanting
Yeah.
to go do this and
Right.
that, but I'm like, no, I can't do it, and it's weird because like I've been sick twice, but
This
the
year?
first
Yeah.
already
Yeah.
but the first time I wasn't really sick. It was just like maybe some allergies or something, but
Yeah.
I knew this time I was like, this is different. My throat's scratchy for no reason for an extended period of time, and it took a couple days for it to actually hit. But when
Yeah.
it hit,
There's some bullshit,
and I'm like blessed to be able to work like remotely most of the time. Not all the time, but most of the time, and I still just like took the whole 2 days off because I was like, I gotta sleep.
Yeah.
Because that's the way you come back. It ain't no, I'm gonna work. I'm not working. I'm not going to no call in meetings or
Facts.
nothing. I'm about to just lay my ass down and get to it.
Get your life right, everybody. If you sick or almost, do what you need to do. We got a lot of different things to talk about today. It's certainly going to be a hodgepodge, but there's a couple big things that I've been wanting to talk about, and I've been wanting to kind of bring to the listeners as always. But there is some stuff I wanted to start off with first. Sleeping naked. Now, I think this is weird, but in my older age, I'm starting to sleep naked more. Now, women, I'm gonna take women out of this conversation for a minute because damn near most women I know sleep naked or close to naked. They got more stuff to worry about. I guess I don't even know if it's more. I feel like titties flopping in the sheets, balls flopping in the sheets. Like it's kind of an equal thing, kind of, but whatever.
I don't know.
Depending on a variety of factors, whatever. But I mean, do you sleep naked?
Hell no.
I don't either.
I'm gonna tell you why.
But I slept naked last night.
I mean, I've done it before, but it probably was like on some. It was I don't even know why. It wasn't on purpose. It was just like
last night. Well, let me.
maybe I fell asleep after I took a shower or something.
I didn't actually sleep naked last night. I slept bottomless, which was silly as hell.
So you had a long
Yes.
tee on.
So let me tell. I felt.
What in the
Let me
world?
tell you. Let me tell you. It wasn't even that long.
You got an extra T-shirt.
I felt ridiculous, but when I woke up, I was like, wow, this actually wasn't that bad. Like I don't know exactly
man.
if it was like
he
the
was
cover.
He felt aired out.
No, let me tell you what happened.
He was aired out all night.
I was tired, and I literally like was taking off my clothes, and I just kind of passed out. And I'm like, dang, I guess in my mind I was gonna put on drawers at some point, and I just didn't. And I had on a shirt, and I was like, damn, this is crazy. I don't ever really sleep naked like that by myself, And lo and behold, so I just wanted to get like a general consensus,
tell you why
like
I don't sleep naked.
pros and cons of sleeping naked.
I don't sleep naked because if anything happens where I have to get up fast in the middle of the night, say for instance, like, somebody in the crib.
Go put on some drawers.
No, you don't have time to put on drawers. I just want to get up and go.
Drawers takes 3 seconds.
No, see, that's 3 seconds. You're not even thinking right. You just sound ridiculous right now.
But your life is on the line. I'll kill somebody naked.
I'm not saying you would, but what if there's like a fire or something like that? Now
different.
you got to crawl out the window, ass out.
Hey.
And I'm like, why even put yourself in that scenario when you could have prevented the ass out? Like the ass out, crawling out the second floor, third floor, whatever floor you live on. You don't have to do that. That will always be a funny scene for the people because you survived. Now, if you didn't survive, it would not be funny.
Somebody would throw you some drawers or throw you a towel or something.
But it's too late. Now, I've seen videos of people.
He looked like he sleep naked.
Yeah, exactly. I've seen videos
on
of
the
people.
Window. He look. He said, "I sleep naked." Nigga, look. I know you do. Go ahead.
I've seen videos of people being saved from burning buildings. Ass out. Those are the funniest videos.
Too. No, I've seen them.
And that was the thing where I was like, you know what? Nah, we're gonna put these drawers on. And I usually sleep in shorts, like basketball shorts or something like that. So
let me ask you this. Well, nah, you might not answer this. But I thought about this because I'm like, look. Sleeping naked is not really like I had a whole conversation with myself today. I'm like, man, why don't you sleep naked? Like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, it's natural. It's natural. It's you, right? And then I was like, you know what? It's weird because people, and let me ask you this. You don't have to answer it. You can use plausible deniability. Have you ever had sex through the boxer hole?
I don't wear boxers, so you mean the hole in general?
The hole
in general, generally speaking.
To me, that's weird.
Nah, I haven't. That's weird.
I never have.
I feel like somebody got something to hide.
That
like you got some.
That's what I'm saying. Why are you not taking your drawers off? You're sweating. Like, why are you not taking your drawers off?
You are in your drawers,
man.
What are you hiding?
Exactly.
What are you hiding?
And I feel like that's how your bed feels. Like your bed is asking you, what are you hiding?
Nah,
sometimes you just gotta
that's not how
sleep
the bed
naked.
feels.
And actually, I'm gonna be real, man. I was knocked the hell out. I was like, damn, this is a little bit more comfortable. I'm not wrestling with my shorts or my drawers because usually I just sleep in my drawers anyway. But I'm not wrestling with them. I'm like, man, this I'm wasting clothes actually sleeping in my drawers.
I sleep.
You might be your ass might be hot. You wake up, you gotta change your drawers
because they're too restrictive. But in shorts, it's like loose enough and whatever. Man. But yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I mean,
that boxer, whatever you talking about, the boxer thing.
That's weird.
That's weird.
That's weird.
That's
lady,
somebody saw it on a video somewhere.
Lady,
thought that was what you. Like who
doing
raised
that?
you?
Yeah, who's doing that?
Who raised you?
If you don't have, ladies and fellas, if the person doesn't have the decency to take off their drawers, you don't mess with that.
But some people don't think about it like that, and you should though. You should think about that. I ain't taking off my drawers, but
I know, like, why don't you want to take off your drawers?
Wow.
Well, I will say this.
Even be there.
I'll say this. I will be honest. Now, there has been situations that I've been in life where people didn't take off their clothes, which I thought was weird. But I also was like, well, this situation is like, am I going to talk shit or not? You know what I'm saying? Or am I going to do what I came to do, or am I going to talk shit?
They take off their clothes. Like, she kept her shirt on.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, dang. Like, look. I tried this. It was like, so I'm like, dang. Hey. Well, but listen.
Yes, that happened.
You're right. Like, where they pull it back down, you're like, well, okay. That's not going to happen.
Tough.
Now.
You shouldn't be there.
But I feel like that's a little bit different. Yeah, that's a little bit different than not taking off your drawers.
I understand it, even though I think it's silly. I know it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing.
Yeah. It's a little.
That's something different. But we're not gonna get into that on today's show.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. But I have my mother's birthday coming up.
Okay.
I don't know what to get her. Anybody have any ideas what to get? A very spry, very cool, very hip mother. She's gotten a lot of things from me.
you just
Well,
like
my mother's coming off of back surgery, so skateboards won't
Oh.
be in the thing. Any other ideas?
a back warmer,
Okay.
like a heated.
Like a back pad or something like
I
that.
don't know.
Like that.
I feel like I just made that up, but like a heated
A
back.
heated
thing.
pad. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Or
Maybe.
like maybe a massage, like a massage.
She doesn't like those. She don't like people touching her.
Well, I don't know what to
she
tell
like
you
that.
about
She don't
that.
like
That's different.
AirPods. Okay.
Does she have an iPhone?
Yeah, she got Apple Watch too.
Oh, well, she's hip.
AirPods.
She's moving the movement.
All right. Apple AirPods. All right.
AirPods or
Well, Mom, if you're listening to this, happy birthday.
there it
That's
is.
probably what it'll be. I'm going to see her
Or
actually.
you could get her Avrex.
My mother would slap the taste out my mouth if I got
you
her.
want this?
a
I'll
leather-
take it.
if I got her. You know what? That'd be funny as hell though. You give somebody a gift that you
That
know
you
they
want.
don't want, but you know you want, and they be like, "No, I don't want this. Oh, I'll take it." Like that's actually the dick-headedest move of all. Oh, you don't like it? Look, I'll take it. I'll go back get you what you need. Damn, that's wild, but it's real. Okay, so I'll try that. I'll try that, man. Now,
Has anybody ever given a gift back to you?
no, but someone did clown a gift I gave them. They did clown it. I was in my teens, and my teen girlfriend. I thought it would be cute. Does anybody remember the store? I don't even think they're around anymore. Build-A-Bear. Does anybody remember this store? Right. Build-A-Bear store where you go in, you get this teddy bear, and you buy his little clothes, and you can name him and all this shit, right? So I don't know. I don't even know if this was birthday. I'm not quite sure what it was, but I bought a Build-A-Bear, and I named him AJ. Now, I'm Austin. This little Build-A-Bear was AJ Jr. And I think I got it inscribed on his little drawers. And he had like on a beater. It was a cool little thing. I thought like, oh, something that maybe she put on her bed. This was before we went to college. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, oh, maybe something like that.
I thought you was on to something.
I thought I was.
That's actually a good gift.
Got clowned. I'm like, dang.
What hood joint was you messing with? That
Man,
clowned you? Like,
I'm
come
sorry.
on, bro. Like, that's ridiculous. That's
I
ridiculous.
thought it was a good idea.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I would get that today.
And it was
I
cool.
would buy that today.
Little man had a hat. Like, it was a cool
You
little
get a
thing.
bear with a wife beater on. Like, come on, man. Like,
Yeah. It was dude was cuddly and
that's
everything.
a horrible name for a shirt, a wife beater. What? Who made that up?
Because everybody in the movies who wore those
It's
ribbed
really a tank top.
tank
I'm gonna stop
tops.
saying wife beater.
You're right.
Like that
I'm gonna stop.
sounds ridiculous.
I'm gonna stop saying it too. Actually,
wife beater.
I'm glad you
What
said that.
in the world?
Right here,
Like,
right here, right now. I'm gonna stop saying it. That's
tank
unreal.
Top, tank top.
A tank top, a
I-
fitted tank
There
top.
was a line from this dude that I think he's in jail right now. Hold your head.
Yeah.
But I remember he was like, they call me tank top because I'm a wife beater.
Wow.
But he didn't mean it in like.
Yeah, I get it, but
yeah,
like,
not wife beater,
beater.
but like beater.
right.
But
No,
it
I
was
get it.
like,
That's unreal though. Like, come. Well, hopefully he's not in jail for domestic.
I don't know if he's still in. No, I don't think so.
Oh,
But
okay.
I think it
Well,
was other shit. But
all right, moving along a little bit. It is Black History Month
it is
for people, and let me just preface this. Let me say this because I need to kind of get this off my chest. Some people be like, oh, it's Black History Month every month. Shut up, shut up. Okay,
I celebrated every
like
day.
I get what you're saying because you're grown and cynical, but there's a large cross section of kids, at least in this country, because Black history is not something that is celebrated all year. So because you celebrate all year, cool. But shut up with the statuses. It has its place, right? It certainly has its place when you talk about schools, but also when you talk about the mindset of kids living in America. Because if you're not necessarily in a Black neighborhood or proactively involved in things that are empowering or people who are empowering, this would be a time for them to better understand, better get to know, maybe participate in things, see some things on TV, whatever it may be. It's an entry point.
Mm-hmm.
So shut up if you're hating. You know, like don't wear the shirt. I celebrate Black History every month. Good. You just bought a shirt to do nothing. You know, just let people have their
I want to know what they
have
do.
their have
What are
their
they actually doing to celebrate it every month? If you say, because I probably have said that shit before, but because I mean, I'm cynical at times, but I just like to talk shit too. But if you're serious with that statement, what are you actually doing to celebrate? Because I know people that are actually doing things now that are actually celebrating Black History Month.
Buying
Like
T-shirts. I mean, when you really think about what it means to celebrate, because I think it's a good opportunity to think about what it means to celebrate Black history, right? Like, you know, when we think about celebrations in this country, it's always pomp and circumstance shit. You know, we think about cake and ice cream and presents and gifts. That's not really what celebrating Black history is about. Now, I know that in our school we're attempting to try to take it serious, but also try to get local with it. You know, like say, hey, look, we're going to continue to learn about forefathers and ancestors, foremothers, things of the sort, but we also are going to try to think about living Black history in your community, you know, and how your Black history as a kid, you know, like your Black history, you are someone who has the potential to do anything, you know, and start having Black people look at it like that. I mean, I think anytime you get Black people in a positive mindset about who they are and what they're doing, not in some, oh, let me show off what I'm doing, right? Like not in some, let me try to floss and flex. Like that's not really, it's not time. It's never really time for that, but it's certainly not time for that for Black history. It's about paying homage.
Let me show how woke I am.
Yeah, like a woke content. It's not about that. It's like, let's pay some homage. You know, like let's volunteer. You know what I mean? Let's fuck around and clean up some trash on your street. You know,
yeah. If you live on my street, maybe
know,
you can
right?
clean that trash on the side of my house because I'm tired of doing it.
Man, say hello to somebody.
Diapers
you know,
and shit.
Think about the present and how you want in history to be, and then maybe do something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people do. I'm just kind of putting that out there because I haven't seen a whole lot of it, but I've seen a couple. And I'm like, hey, I'm just gonna put my 2 cents on there. Like, you know, do something with your kids, for your family, with your family. Do something like that. You know how they service related or maybe just sacrificial. You know, I think that would be the best way to celebrate it because that's what all those people did for us.
I wouldn't necessarily say this is celebrating, but maybe it is. But I'm using Black History Month as a, you know, backdrop. So I'm not eating any meat or animal products.
Okay.
Which is hard to do because of eggs.
Yeah. Sure.
And I'm not drinking any alcohol during Black History Month.
All right.
Because, like you said, we are also Black history. So I don't drink that much or eat that much meat anyway. I don't even eat dairy. So it's not that big of a transition. But it is a little bit, you know, you think about social settings and whatnot. But I feel like it reminds you every day that this is Black History Month if you're making sure that you're not doing these things. So it's just a way to remind me, one, it's like a health-based thing, but then two, I'm reminded that it's Black History Month. I'm not eating this. I'm not drinking this. So yeah, I think it's a lot of things that you can do to, you know, I guess pay homage or commemorate Black history. Like my trainer, I want to get him on the show. I got to get him on here on a Tuesday, but I know he's usually booked up on Tuesday. Every day he's been posting a workout on his page.
Yeah, you told me.
And it's each person is, so he has a person that like for that day. So literally for the whole 29 days, he's gonna make a post where he created a workout specific, like themed around that person. So he may use the initials of the person.
Yeah.
Or like for, I think it was, I don't know if it was Frederick Douglass, where he used like a running theme or something like that. But like that's what the workout was based on. It was like a few different things, and then there was like a wall sit. But he explains why this is for this. This is so. I'm like, that took a lot of work. Like he showed me last month, like while he was working on it, like he wrote up the whole thing. I'm like, he took a lot of time to do this.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And
sure,
you know, so I think it's definitely ways, and there's people out there just not that you got to do all this stuff, but at least hit a like.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just show people that you see. Okay, I appreciate that you're doing that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's real. Because that's a reminder. I was in a rabbit hole last night around like I don't even know how much this has to do with it, but black people and their migration patterns and or the where they've lived, where the different places they've inhabited. And I think that was very eye opening for me because you see black people from the continent that were 20, 30,000 years living in what is present day Fiji and living in what is living in the area of what is present day Southeast Asia, living in the present day area of New Zealand, these areas, and I think that when we think about black people and their influence on the world, you can't take what white people have told you about it or white culture has told you about it. Now, I have a lot of gripes with white culture, and I think that Black History Month in specific is a time maybe for you to step back. Like if you don't do that already, maybe it's a time to step back and investigate what white culture have to say about you and your culture. Because remember, this is a time, this is a year, this is a day that they've commercialized too. Now I know that a black man did start it. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying it's something that they kind of allowed. So what I'm saying is don't let them control your thinking on Black History Month. Try to like research something you don't know. Just Google search something you never thought would be like. Have black people ever lived in Iceland? Right? Now to your brain, you're like, of course not. We wasn't going ever no cold. But you never know. It's just like to cross-examine popular things that have been facts. Is something that you can.
I like that word, reimagine.
Yeah, like
reimagine Black history.
This is a time for you to really think about that. I've gone down a couple rabbit holes only to find, like this is wild. Like we was here. People were doing these things. So it's just a dope. I guess it's just a dope time to do.
We've been everywhere, and that's the thing. But you got to think of like culturally. A lot of places that we have been, if you want to go back as far as you went back, Fiji and all that, like we probably just blended in terms of just because lifestyle wise, it probably was some differences, but it probably wasn't that much of a difference. I would imagine. This is just me reimagining Black history, and it's another thing to try to change other people's ways of life. That's different.
Right.
But if you're from like an indigenous based, live off the earth type of situation, and you go somewhere else where it's the same, you probably just kind of, okay,
have some similarities.
I know how to do this. Y'all know how to do this, and that's what it is. But
facts. I did want to touch on another pretty, another pretty important thing, and that's it ain't that important, but the Super Bowl. Now, I watched it.
Me too.
I did watch it. I watched it because I was with a whole group of people from Kansas, a loving, amazing group of people from Kansas who have lived in Kansas, great black folk who are diehard fans, and it was dope. I was there. I went through the range of emotions with them as they watched the Chiefs go down and then get close and then tie it, I think, and then ultimately win the game. So it was a pretty good game. The Super Bowl viewership, or actually, let's stick to. So Project Inspire or Inspire Change. I think that's Jay-Z's partnership with the NFL. If you were watching the Super Bowl, you saw a couple commercials which the NFL teamed up and talked about, I believe it was criminal justice. And I was like, okay, guess it's cool. Jay-Z and his daughter were there. I think Beyonce maybe was there as well. But I asked myself, like, okay, is this all over now? Like, I'm not quite sure in a moment like this where I felt like, nobody was really talking about Colin Kaepernick or talking about the NFL's, kind of standby approach. It felt like everything was over. It felt like, so if if it is over, what have we learned from that? Because it feels like it's over. It feels like most people either gave up on it or just decided to, just watch football again. I mean, hell, I haven't watched football in a long time, and I watched the Super Bowl. So, is it over? Is it done? What you think, man?
Yeah,
it's done.
It's been done. It was done when it started. And I didn't watch the NFL for 2 seasons, but I did watch the Super Bowl last year because my team was in it last year and the year before. So, I did not really watch during the season, maybe, a couple games or whatever, but at the end of the day, it's been over. It was over when the players decided to continue to play, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
You can't boycott something and other people are not boycotting it.
Mm-hmm.
Like the black players are still playing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't expect black people to not watch the black players.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So just because I did it, I didn't necessarily villainize anybody for not watching.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for watching, because I wasn't watching for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So like, because I knew, I was like, it's not a real boycott.
Right.
It's not real. It's not reality.
Ain't nobody else really not playing football. Right?
Because they're still playing.
They're
the
still
same
playing.
players. Only one player was not playing. He still wants to play. So like, it's not really a boycott. It's not like he still wants to play. He wanted to play.
Still
the
wanted
whole
to play.
time.
Right.
So it was just you're waiting to see. It's like now it's too many years down the line where, I mean,
it's over.
There's
now.
an argument. Is like, is he even ready to? Will he be ready to play?
Oh, I don't even think that mattered no more. Whether he's ready or not ready.
But that's the point. It's so many different holes to poke into it.
Yeah.
That it just don't even really make a difference. But in terms of like what's happening with Jay-Z, like we already talked about this before, but I didn't necessarily see what Jay-Z was doing as wrong. I just don't necessarily think it was the best optics because the way it was presented, but it wasn't necessarily wrong because just because Colin Kaepernick started it, like, I mean, when the Super Bowl happened, I posted Colin Kaepernick in my story. It doesn't mean too much, but just posted a picture of him kneeling. But what are you really trying to get out of it? Do you just want him to play again, or do you want more light to be shined on the issue?
Yeah.
And I think light has been shined on the issue, but the issue isn't solved. I didn't expect violence against black people by the police to be solved. But there is more of a light shined on it because of Colin Kaepernick. And now with Jay-Z, there's still more of a light shine. So it's just, I didn't read the article in the New York Times, but he talked about two men with the same goal that disagree on the tactics.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's essentially what that is to me. Like, they're not using the same tactics. They disagree on tactics, but that doesn't mean that they should be enemies.
Right.
And the way the culture is set up now, if you do something, and it's not like it just started. It's been like this for generations, specifically with black people. If one person does something that another group doesn't like, then you try to villainize that person. Mm-hmm. But in the real world, you can't expect anything to happen of substance for the whole if that's how you treat people that still want the same end goal as you, but don't necessarily agree with the tactics that you want to use. Because, I mean, you start shrinking the group of people that will be affected.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think the one thing that I learned, especially I think moving forward in 2020 and beyond, is, when you start mixing politics with things that make a lot of money, you really have to be realistic about what your outcome is. Not that your outcome, not that what you're doing is any less important. Like, I love what Colin Kaepernick did. And Colin Kaepernick, to me, is someone who will forever be seen with the highest amount of respect from me. I'm just looking at it from average man standpoint. If everybody ain't riding, and this is for if everybody ain't riding, you might have to alter your course as it relates to maybe your expectation, not what you do. You should still do all the same things that you believe in. You should still ride. Just don't expect for a lot of things to change per se, because everybody's not riding. So I think in Colin Kaepernick's case, he did a really I don't want to call it solid and honest job of staying his course, and also being rewarded at least with the moral part of it, but also like the respect. Like, everybody respects him. People see what he did as respectable, because his issue was never with the NFL until they decided to take a hard line on not really backing him when it came to the way that people were looking at him. That's all that they really did. They failed to back their player on a First Amendment right. So he decided to stick with his guns and his political leanings. And, we know how that story played out. But I'm just thinking about it as like an average everyday person, right? Like let's say, you might be in the middle of your job, right? And your job is fucking everybody over, but nobody is really saying nothing. And you like, man, fuck this. I'm about to say something. Just know when you say something, right? And the other people ain't gonna say nothing. Just be realistic with yourself about what about what your goal is. Be informed by the fact that other people are going to watch you. They're not gonna follow you. They're not necessarily gonna be like, you know what she doing is how I feel too. I'm gonna ride. They're not gonna do that. They're gonna think about themselves. They're gonna think about their families. They're gonna think about their money. They're gonna think about all that, which is real, right? Those are real consequences. Colin Kaepernick was in a position that a lot of NFL players may not have been in, because he did already sign a big contract. He was someone who was in a good place financially, at least. But like I said, if you kick shit on your job, because I'm the person who would kick shit on my job. I'm the person that would say something. And also, I've been informed by knowing when nobody else says nothing with you, even if they say behind closed doors, we gonna ride.
Yeah, whatever.
No. Like,
you just made me think
your ass is going to be asked out, and that's okay. But you have to be informed by the fact that not everybody's going to showcase that.
That's messed up how they did Austin.
Exactly. That's what you're just going to be fired, and then they're going to be going to that same job, and they're going to be like, man, and they'll talk about it for a minute.
You saw what he did with Austin.
Exactly.
No, you just made me think about something.
Talk about the shit for a minute, and then they're not talking about it.
Everybody wants to be rich so they can pop shit. But
right,
usually they get rich
and shut the hell up.
So it's like you're not gonna pop shit.
No.
You want to be rich so you can pop shit, but usually to get rich, you can't really pop shit. Yeah.
Like
you can't shake it up. You can't shake up the idea that you were just naturally transition from being one type of person, but once you get rich, you'll transition to being another type of person. It's false. That's not what usually happens. Yeah. Usually you're the same person the whole time, because once you get money, you're going to want more money, and you just want to keep getting like, well, I know how to get it, so I'm going to keep getting it.
Yep.
But
I think this is a perfect illustration of that, right? Because in this situation, the irony is, not everybody involved, right? But in this situation, the irony is these are people who make a lot of money, like more than average, right? These are professional athletes who get paid handsomely in most cases. So they could foreseeably, at least dollars and cents wise, maybe afford to get fired and still be okay in a way that the average person couldn't, right? And you saw the motherfuckers was kind of riding, but like, I'm not really trying to be in that situation. For Jay, on the other hand, I haven't read the New York Times article, but I think Jay-Z can't escape. You know, I don't think anything he did was bad or anything like that. But he can't escape the fact that he took a business angle towards somebody else's sacrifice. Now, what you feel about that is, you know, I'm not saying he's bad for that, but I'm saying Jay-Z didn't take a knee, right? Jay-Z wasn't the person whose job was on the line. Jay-Z also was the person who was able to use his business interests to strike a deal with the NFL.
I think he uses power more so than his business interest because the dude's a billionaire, right?
And they got paid for this.
But in terms of like who could have done this?
Yeah.
Who could have like moved the what's the what I'm trying to say?
Move the needle.
Move the needle. Who could have moved the needle in this instance? There's not many people that could have done that. He may be one of the few people in the entertainment sphere who could have done that. So I don't know if this was a money move. Like, of course it's a money move, but it's not purely a money move because it was a lot of risk involved. When you decide to, everybody's hero, you decide to do something different than what the hero's doing. Ain't too many people that can do that.
Right.
Like, he may be one of the few people that can go against what the hero's doing. And maybe some people will fall in line eventually. They will talk shit at first, but eventually, if things pan out, they'll be like, okay. But there's other people where if you do what he did, you already, raccoon junior. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
and I don't think that's fair.
But that's the reality of it. Like, who else could have done it? Because people were calling him coon.
Now it would be. Now I think there's two different things. Like, right? Like, I remember playing basketball, and it'd be a situation like, let's say, like what the newspaper write about you, right? And like, let's say the media creates a story, and it's this, that, and the third. That's one thing. But like, when you in a room with some thorough people, and the media ain't there, and the white people ain't there, and Roger Goodell ain't there, but if you just in the room with your homeboys, if he's sharing company with Eric Reed, if he's sharing company in a room with Eric Reed, Colin Kaepernick and others who stood their ground, he not really gonna be able to have nothing to say in that area. Now in the public, he looked like I said, he could use plausible deniability, and he can kind of. And I'm not saying he did anything wrong. I'm just saying in the public's eyes, he can certainly exist in a way that's very kind of mysterious and untouchable. But like, if he shared a space with people, it'd be a little bit different. And I'm sure he might at some point.
I see your point.
I don't know if they've ever talked on that level.
I see your point.
But
I also will say the piece that can always be thrown out is like, what did you think was going to happen?
Yeah.
Like, sure, you're going to take this stance and move on, and like nothing changes. We just saw it. You're a hero now. But what did you think was going to happen? Like, and I'm speaking as if I was him. If you tried to challenge me as Jay-Z, it's like, what did you see? Because I'm trying to move things forward in a way, a tangible way.
Well, I would have told him,
not a symbolic way.
If we was in that room, I'd be like, you know what, I don't blame you, cuz, but like, move it forward off. Like, don't move it forward off the momentum I started. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it's a situation,
it ain't about what you started.
Hold on, but if it's a situation that it's an ongoing thing, right? And the reason why they not inviting me to the table is because I have a more strict set of politics. So instead of inviting me to the table, they invite you to the table, and they do the business that they should be doing with me through you. You should have had
That's ego talking. The business
I don't think it's ego
with me, but they did it with you. That's their ego.
But it was his issue, though.
It's not his issue. It's everybody's issue, and that's where I think people have it confused. Is that this is Colin Kaepernick's issue? No, he took a knee. He wasn't the only person who took a knee. He just is the face of it for a legitimate reason, but it's not his issue. This is black people's issue. So if something happens and you're not the face of it, it is what it is. Like, if things get moved along that could help change the narrative in the future, that's just part of the story. I mean, you gotta be the face of it. You'll always be remembered as the person that sat at the counter the North Carolina A&T students that sat at the counter, uh, they, I mean, they're the face of a movement, but they're not the ones that changed the narrative down the line. They just were part of it, and it's okay to be that. You will always be remembered as that. Don't think you gotta be.
No, I mean he's still gonna be remembered.
Let's think of it in a capitalistic way. That's a thought from a capitalistic person.
Right.
That I did this. Now I have to be the person to control this part. They gotta sit down at the table with me. It's like, no, not really. Like, you started it, but now we got other people in the building that now they gotta use they power now, because this conversation wouldn't even happen without him. But you may not be the person that knows how to take it to the next step. That's why if you think of a startup, like a tech startup, there's so many companies that get funding from like VCs, and then they change CEOs down the line. Once they get funded, the CEO changes, because the person that started the business is not necessarily the person that knows how to move the business to the next level.
But like I said, this wasn't, I get what you're saying, but this wasn't about business. Like, this wasn't about, if I don't think it was about, I don't actually think that it wasn't about a capitalistic situation. Like, this wasn't about business. Now, it was made to be about business because that's in the NFL's interest. Like, that's their game. They're big business, right? So if they can turn a political issue amongst players into a business issue about money, they were all in for that. Mm-hmm. What they didn't want it to be was about politics. What they didn't want it to be was about race, because then they would have to choose a side in a very divided political, in a very divided racial environment. So they didn't want to do that. Money is their easy game. So they're like, yo, let's try to come up with a number so that we can work this out. So you're right. Maybe Colin Kaepernick wouldn't have been the right person to work out a business deal, right? I agree with you there, because that's not his interest. But what I'm saying is, like, if we was in, like, if me and somebody else was about to fight, and
you pick up a chair.
It was a situation, depending on how big he is, and it was a situation where me and somebody got an issue, rather, and then instead of the person coming to me to solve the issue, the person jump over me and go to somebody I know to try to solve it. And the person who they jump over to come to me don't never talk to me about it. They allow that situation to happen.
You know why?
I would say in that situation, I wouldn't really be messing with them like that.
Mafia movies, you got to go over. Sometimes you got to go to the boss of the bosses, because you got to go to the, I mean, we're not on the same level.
I don't like I said, to me, that's if it's about business.
You may feel some type of way, but like, it is what it is. That's part of it.
And I don't, but my thing is, I don't even think Colin Kaepernick's salty about it. It's just interesting to see who did it.
Do you think that,
like, once I see somebody jumped over me like that, I would be like, okay, that's cool, because like you said, that's maybe your lane. You did that. Okay, cool. Like, and I think that's what Colin Kaepernick did. He didn't make no public statements about it. He just said, okay, cool. Like, that's how you guys chose to play it. That's how Jay-Z decided to play it. Cool. Now, maybe Jay-Z will on the business side, because he is a great businessman. Whatever the economics of the situation, how they play themselves out, maybe he ends up getting people paid that wouldn't have got paid off of that. But like I said, again, that's the NFL's.
Did you watch?
That's the NFL's game. They got
the
money.
Halftime show?
They're like a bank. I did. I watched it.
So Shakira or J-Lo?
I think that it was well, let me say this. I don't have a lot of history. I don't have a lot of history with both, but it feels like there was a lot more money that went into J-Lo's performance based on like all these outfit changes and everything. So on that level, it's probably going to be J-Lo, because she had a lot of stuff going on.
Shakira went in. I mean, she was dancing like she was doing everything.
I thought she was good too.
I'm gonna be honest. The music,
I thought both of them were good.
Generally speaking, her music's better than J-Lo. J-Lo's music is like, It's
I don't
pop.
know. I don't know
But
enough of
Shakira
Shakira's
can really
music.
sing. She plays instruments. Like she was playing
Yeah.
instruments on stage. I don't know if she was actually playing.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
But
but she does play instruments.
she's playing the drums. She's playing the guitar,
Yeah.
and she can really, really dance. Not to say J Lo can't dance, but it's just it was different. It was a little bit. It was
I did hear
another-
about some like Afro Colombian dance
all of the
troupe
above.
they
It
had
was
behind
all,
Shakira.
Man, I don't know. I just know it was a good show
Mm-hmm.
on both parts for different reasons. I was wondering, like all the people in Middle America that watched J Lo bend over in front of the camera.
Of course.
What did they tell their daughters?
Well,
and their
Shakira had a
sons?
rope over her hands.
Yeah, but
She was tying herself up.
but that was
What were they telling her
but
daughters
it's-
there?
But it's not like obvious what that means. But if somebody's bending over
Kinda.
with it,
Like you got BDS. Like
nobody
this woman.
knew what
This
that
woman
meant.
was tying her hands
Nobody-
up and kind of like doing this,
Nobody knew what that
and she
meant.
shook her ass too.
Not like no, J Lo bent over. It was like a still shot of her bending over
Oh yeah.
with like
The cameras did focus in on that.
yeah, and I was like, wow, this is a lot going on. This is the Super
No,
Bowl.
I
the
knew
Super
it.
Bowl started at 6 o'clock.
I knew she was gonna do that though.
This
You're
was
right.
Late night TV. This
You're
was
right.
like in the middle of the day.
You're
Like,
right. You're right. I think that was a situation. That was a situation where I was watching it. It wasn't with kids; they were upstairs. But like, if my son or daughter saw that, I'd be like, damn.
And then
You know what I mean? Like,
the stripper pole.
yeah, it's
She
a lot.
started out. She had 2 stripper poles. So, man, you know what type of time J Lo is on. She 50 now.
I
You
mean,
know what I'm saying? She got that.
It was a
extra
lot.
little.
it was a
That
lot.
little second wind going on in her life.
You know,
she's
she got
like-
kids herself. Her kids were there with her.
Hey,
You
she
know,
don't worry
which
about them kids.
her daughter was the one that performed with her.
So the dude that was
in the
rapping,
second.
I thought
J
that
Balvin?
was Daddy Yankee, but I guess his name is Bad Barbie. Or
And
Bad-
it was two. It was J Balvin and it was
I thought
Bad
it was
Bunny.
Daddy Yankee.
Yeah,
but it's not.
Bad Bunny.
It's what is his name? Bad Bunny.
Bad Bunny. Yeah.
That's a weird name for a man.
Man, he's huge.
But I didn't know. I didn't know who he was.
He's
so I
huge.
thought that maybe they should have had Ja Rule come out because J Lo
Ain't
and
That
Ja
Funny?
Rule would have been.
Yeah, that would have been a good
That would have
throwback.
been. I'd have been like, there. That's what I want to see.
That would have been a good throwback.
But 50 Cent would have came back.
He would have flown in on a helicopter and
It stopped the
you
show.
can't do this. Yeah, that's wild.
But it was good. I thought it was a good halftime show. to
I
be
did too.
honest.
I thought it was
mean,
good.
when I think of older
It's a perform-
shows like Beyonce show, this was not like that. This was not on the Beyonce level by any means, but it was good.
Yeah, I thought it was good too. I didn't have any thoughts about it other than like, man, both of these people can really dance and perform, and they had a whole hell of a lot of like dancers with them. It was deep up there, so it was a good situation. It's in Miami, of course, so you got to kind of play
You
to
know
the
what
home
was
crowd
wild?
demographic.
The Roman numeral for this Super Bowl was like, Live in Miami.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
It was the same, but it just happened to be.
Yeah, they made
the
it. They
same.
probably made
so
a lot of
Live
money.
probably made a lot of money
Yeah, they
this
did.
weekend
I'm
because
sure they did.
that was a perfect, situation for them.
Yeah, I'm sure they. You're right. I'm sure they made.
Is that
all
where
the
we
back.
went that one time where we didn't actually go in because it was like late? I think it was Live. Maybe.
It was either Live or I don't know. It might have been.
Whatever it was, we had a group.
Oh no, yes, that was Live.
It
You're
was
right.
a
Yes,
group
it
of
was
us,
Live.
and it was like maybe 1:30, and I was like, we not.
and it was like $100.
It was $100.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why we come here this late?
Yeah, you're right.
I would have went in.
It was
but I
a-
knew
it was
that
a-
y'all wasn't trying to go in.
It was a nice scene though in the lobby.
But the
You know,
lobby was all right.
It was a nice scene. So,
But anyway,
State of the Union addresses tonight. For anybody who gives a shit, I honestly don't.
yeah.
But the president, like, the irony is like this dude is giving a state of the country speech while he's on trial, right? Like, so I don't even know what you could say while you're on trial. But like I said, we're way beyond the point of sanity with Donald Trump, and we're way beyond the point of explanation when it comes to why all this shit's happening. Just say because white supremacy. Don't say anything else. Don't try to. The only reason all these abnormal things are happening is because white supremacy is stronger than logic, at least in this country. So as long as they're white and they're a man, it doesn't matter about the truth. It doesn't matter really how shit looks. This motherfucker is on trial and giving a speech about what America should be doing at the same time. Like if that isn't a walking contradiction. Like, you shouldn't even be able to give a speech. You might be removed. You shouldn't even be able to give a speech to the country. You should be like, we gonna wait and see how this shit plays itself out, right? Before you start giving us advice. But he's giving a State of the Union speech today. I spent some time in politics, so I used to have to be up covering this shit. And here's what is going to happen. He's going to have 11 individuals that's going to attend the speech. And he usually gives backstories to these people, right? You know, let's look at John Foster from Minneapolis, who's the worker. And then they pan on John and his wife smile, you know, crusty little smile, and they give his background of his life and try to illustrate his supporters because, you know, he's running for re-election. So who will be there tonight is Tony Rankins and Paul Morrow. I'm sure one of them are probably black. Are both Army veterans who have benefited from the Opportunity Zones, definitely black, Opportunity Zones created through Republican tax cut legislation passed in 2017. So if you're a little unsure what Opportunity Zones are, they're probably in your city. They're essentially social welfare situations. So they're like, oh, like these places are not, these places are economically coming up or have the potential to economically come up. We'll give you a tax cut, or we'll give you an opportunity to like get in there for less early. So he's going to talk about that. Kelly and Gage Hake are Oklahoma residents, and the widow and son, respectively, of Army Staff Sergeant Chris Hake, who was killed while serving in Iraq. So he's going to do some more military stuff. He's going to discuss immigration and chastise sanctuary cities in his speech. One of his guests are going to, if you don't know sanctuary cities, those are places where immigrants can go and seek refuge. One of his guests is Jody Jones, a resident whose brother was killed in late 2018 by an immigrant with a criminal history. DICKHEAD. So he's going to try to stir up fear about places that house immigrants with a woman whose husband, or I'm sorry, not husband, whose brother was killed by an immigrant. Right? Raul Ortiz, so he's going to get a Latino border patrol officer. Look at Raul, the Latino border patrol officer. Our country's great. So basically, he's just doing all the dickheadish things that we expect of Donald Trump. But I know he did that in some of his other speeches as well. Honestly, I'm not going to watch this shit. But I just felt like because it's happening, we should probably talk about it for a second.
Yeah. I don't have too much to say about it.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens after this impeachment thing with the Senate. We already know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
but,
he ain't getting removed.
You know, that's what presidents do. They do State of the Union. They all do the same thing.
This country's a mess.
50% of the country will cheer for it, and 50% of it will not cheer for it. And at the end of the day, I don't know, man.
I'll put it like this.
It's all lip service, in my opinion.
It is very plausible, and this is just me knowing how white supremacy in America works. It's very plausible that this dude gets reelected. It's very plausible.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It's very plausible.
That's not even...
So,
like,
if you have a, what do you call it? If you have some type of idea that he could never be president again, you need to think again. It's very plausible that this dude gets impeached, doesn't get removed, and then turns around and wins the election.
Oh, yeah. He probably will win because he didn't get removed.
Very, very plausible.
But, you know, that's part of democracy. What can you say? What can you really... Can you complain? Because people voted him in, and
yes, you can complain.
You can
complain about our political system. It's a big problem.
The same people that thought it was impossible for him to win are the same people that think it's impossible for him to win again.
Right.
And when he won, I was not one of those people that thought it was impossible for him to win. I thought it was likely that he would probably win because the other candidate wasn't as strong as she could have been.
I don't even think it had nothing to do with the other candidate.
Well, I voted for the other candidate. But I'm just saying, like, the idea that this person couldn't win was silly.
Yeah.
Right?
I agree.
But some people still have the idea that there's no way he'd win 2 times. Like, what do you think? Like, do you see what's going on at the Iowa caucus and, like, and all that? Like, it's a good chance that he may win again.
I just think we all have to be honest about the power of white male supremacy in America and how even when it's terrible, it still prevails. And white people have to be honest about white male supremacy in America and also say, even when it's terrible, it still wins. So it lets us know in 2020, we haven't come that far.
I'll just say, like I said the last show,
on a social
watching, it's not my job to fix that shit, right? Because there's too many other problems out here that maybe I could fix. But if I didn't create this problem, you shouldn't ask the victim.
Yes.
You ask people that created it.
Wow.
The people that created it
what they
giving
say.
You all the answers that you need.
You know what they're going to say.
So you can understand what's really happening.
They're going to act like they didn't hear it.
The victims are not going to have the answers. They're just living in it. You're living in it. So what can you do?
What you just
part
said.
Of the society, and you didn't create this shit.
What you just said I'm glad you said it. What you just said made me think about the way that the country works. Now, there was an interview done by Richard Sherman a couple days before the Super Bowl. If you don't know who Richard Sherman is, he was a player in the Super Bowl. So they talked about the lack of black coaches in the NFL or black GMs. They talked about it, and they're asking all these black players all the time, right? And Richard Sherman's like, man, wait a minute. Stop asking me about why black people aren't hired because I'm just like you. I don't have hiring authority. Why don't you ask the owners, and why don't you ask the GMs and the people in power about that question, because they are the ones who are responsible for hiring them, right? So take that logic. You have to really think critically about questions and answers in this country, because those are the two things that are most protected. Just understand, the people who really need the questions to be asked of them will never have them. Because what that means is accountability. Power works in a way that always avoids accountability. Have you ever tried to talk to, you ever have something wrong with your card? Your debit card or some shit? And you try to talk to somebody, you know how fucking hard it is to get through to somebody when you really need, you got to press 7 or 8 numbers just to try to get to a motherfucker who's going to try to get you to another motherfucker. You like, God damn, I got to go through 10 layers of bullshit just so I can get maybe an answer. If you know how that feels, then that's how America works. The people who have the answers, you will never get to ask them questions because they don't want that. In fact, they build their structures in a way that insulates them so much that it takes you so much to get to them. Like, let's say you have some shit popping. You all are in school. Let's say they kick your black ass out of school tomorrow, and you want to talk to the dean. That's going to be a hard appointment, baby girl. That's going to be hard. Now, you might be able to talk to the Black Student Union. You might be able to talk to the guidance counselor, but the dean might be on vacation somewhere. It's not happening. This country operates in that way. They do everything like that. The people who have the answers and the power will never be held accountable to the common man. You will be passed off. You will be, redirected. You got to talk to this, and this person before. So the idea that Trump or anybody essentially is going to be accountable.
Well, let's
forget about it.
Accountability comes from.
Not going to happen.
Accountability does happen, but it happens at the speed that not the person complaining wants it to happen. It happens at the speed that the person in power is willing to ease off some, right? So they're willing to ease off here, but maybe they'll get, more, a little bit more pressure on this other side over here. But it's not necessarily accountability, but change happens, but it's usually like a pendulum type of thing.
Well, I'd argue that's not even accountability.
No,
like
well,
if somebody has the power to dictate whether or not I get it, that's not accountability.
But it's not accountability. But I'm saying change happens, but it's usually slow, and it's at the pace that the person that is in power is willing to ease off. So it may be pressure there, like socially, where they have to ease off, but usually they have some other tactic to where they can still maintain whatever amount of power behind the scenes or in whatever way when it comes to actual decision and planning and all that. It's usually like that. It's just we gotta have the optics look one way to the world, but in reality we're not really giving up but so much.
Not that, yeah.
It's just
in
like,
some cases, not
maybe
at all.
we'll put somebody. Maybe we'll create these positions. These what do you call them?
We'll go talk to Jay-Z. He'll help us.
we'll
he'll help this. He'll help this look better.
We'll create a person in the cabinet, the diversity Omarosa.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? So we have a diversity person in the cabinet now, or we have or for this whatever company, the diversity HR person, or like the director, some director, or the VP. Just give them a title, But the real change doesn't happen from that place.
From those places.
But there are examples of things changing, but it just takes forever. It may take your whole life. You know what I'm saying? And I think when we talked about the whole thing of on a previous show, we talked about somebody saying that, like, this thing that you're doing socially, eventually, the money will come. It may not come. Maybe you just need to keep doing what you're doing because you really feel passionate
you just love
about
it. Yeah.
But the money's not always going to come in certain aspects. There are things where money comes.
Yeah.
And there are other things where change happens slowly, but it does happen.
Yeah.
But there's no money you're not gonna get rich off.
No windfall.
Yeah. There's not. But the way we're taught now, like, you got to put a business, something behind it. You got to be the owner of something, even if it's a social impact based thing.
Yeah.
You have to but that's not the way things usually work.
I agree.
So real change comes from drastic events.
Yeah.
And those drastic events don't happen that
real
often.
Sacrifice.
Those things happen in the world. They don't happen that often in the U.S.
Yeah.
But they do happen in other parts of the world. But people soft over here. So at the end of the day,
cookie cakes.
What you gonna do?
They give out 7-plate trophies.
You ever look at the NBA, see these soft ass calls and these fake fouls? That's just a sign of how soft the culture is getting and how soft the next generation is. You can't even, you could fake foul somebody. All you gotta do is throw your head back like Harden and you get a foul. Oh, that's a tech. That's not. It wasn't like that.
Of course,
it wasn't like that before.
It's a different time. You had to earn shit.
So,
I did want to talk about one thing before we get into kind of two big ideas. Now, I do follow RSVP Mace, aka Mason Betha. For those people who don't know his new moniker, it's RSVP Mace. So those who don't know Mace is one of Bad Boy's biggest artists of all time. He's one of their top selling artists of all time.
Probably the best rapper they've ever had besides Biggie.
Yeah, I was going to say, definitely would be in that category of upper echelon Bad Boy artists. Certainly somebody who made them a lot of money. So, Diddy was honored with the Clive Davis Award, I believe, which is essentially one of the highest music maker / businessman awards that you can get. It basically is like, hey, you've done everything. And obviously, Diddy's only 50. He's a young guy, right? So he gets the Clive Davis Music Award. And he goes up there and he talks about essentially how black people, especially in hip hop, haven't been given their just due. How in one way or another they've been robbed. One way or another, people have appropriated what they do, and essentially they're just not getting their just due. whether that be on a respect level or a money level, right? Made all sense in the world. Made a lot of headlines. A lot of people like, okay, Diddy, you know, blah blah blah. So RSVP Mace says, you know what? He makes a status. He says, all right, everything that you said on that stage, I agree with. Black people need to start getting, you know, their just due when it comes to their impact and everything. But Mace was like, but you're the same guy who I offered $2 million for my publishing, and you said no. Or you redirected me to some European guy, and he put European in all caps, who I guess either paid for it or is like bidding on it, and said that my offer has to be the same as his. So RSVP Mace is saying, yo, you're talking a good game to the world, but you and I don't have good business dealings. And then when you look back at people like the Locks.
Oh, yeah. There was a whole campaign.
And when you look back at a couple other people who have had less than positive things to say about Diddy. The Locks didn't necessarily trash him, but the Locks let it be known, dude, you fucking with our paper. You know what I'm saying? Like, you supposed to be
refrigerators off the roof.
Yeah, like you supposed to be, you know, this type of businessman, but you act in a different way. Now, I don't know if that was the old Diddy and now this is the new Diddy, because he's not even really in music anymore.
Well, he has French Montana.
You know, right. But he's not necessarily, you know, the same label guy that he was. So I thought that was interesting. And I don't think, you know, Diddy is pretty active on social media. He didn't respond to that.
So I'll say this. You're right. Mace is right. Everybody's right. Diddy has basically not been, if you want to say practice what you preach, we can't say he practiced what he preached back in the day. But I'll say that he came from an industry where that was the model. That was the business model. But he just happened to be the face of Bad Boy. So it was easy to attack him because he's a face that maybe these other executives, you don't even really know them. But he was doing the same things that everybody else was doing. Mm-hmm. So maybe he's not the best person to say what he said, but he didn't invent that business model. He's just part of it. And he was just following it because that's how they made money back in the day. But the industry's changed. Music executives ain't even, like, unless you really, really up there, they're not the same anymore. Because it's a smaller pool of artists that are making money internationally like that. Like that. You know what I'm saying? That's worth you putting your marketing dollars into. But, yeah, I mean, you know, it's the same thing, man. Diddy is a businessman. He got his award. He gonna say what he had to say, and people still respect Diddy.
Sure,
but nobody's confused. He's right.
Nobody's confused about who he really is.
But like, we don't know who he really is. Like, if he changed, he changed. Like, but we're talking about stuff from the '90s.
Right.
Mace is from the '90s.
Right,
it's 2020.
Right.
So you talking about somebody's
20 plus
dealings
years
from the '90s to the early 2000s, because he dropped from the label in the early 2000s.
But Mace was saying he came to him recently about getting his master's. Like, it wasn't a situation where it's old.
They got a weird history too, right? So, like, you're right, but is the $2 million the right number? You know what I'm saying? Is he supposed to be? Is he? Maybe he's just trying to negotiate. Is he not supposed to negotiate? I think he should negotiate. I don't care who's public. Like, I'm not saying that
money ain't my God. At the end of the day, he can afford to not do it.
But you're talking about something that's not the right way to look at it. Like, you offered this man $2 million. Maybe that's what it's worth, right? Maybe it's not. I don't know. But to say that you shouldn't negotiate is silly. That's business. You got to negotiate.
You don't have to do anything.
Yeah, you could just say here.
You're somebody who I hear what you're saying, but that's not a law. That's not a rule. He's a person.
Of course, it's not a law.
He's a person who has more than enough money and who has who has benefited more than enough off that to be like, all right, man, I like this is 20 years ago. Like I could sell this to you on a solid. Like at the end of the day, people do that in the music business all the time. Like I hate getting to the point. Yeah, it's Black History Month, so let's do it. I hate getting to the point where we're talking about blackness in a way that it's about morals and ethics or it's about principle. But then when money gets involved, it becomes about money. At the end of the day, he can do whatever he wants. If he chooses for it to be about money, then let's just say that. And it's not a big deal. It's not.
I hear what you're saying.
He's not a terrible person.
I don't know
that.
how much his publishing is worth.
Right.
So
I agree.
For you to make a post, I'm not saying he's wrong. The post is wrong. I'm saying for the sake of this conversation, maybe it's worth $10 million.
Sure.
Like I don't know what it's worth, but I don't come from a world where you don't negotiate. So if somebody says, well, maybe that was not a reasonable number. Maybe that's why he did that. Maybe that's why he said, go to this person because it's not a reasonable number. I don't know what a reasonable number is, but we do know the history of Bad Boy and the kind of how people perceive signing a Bad Boy deal for a certain period of time. It was like, wait a minute, no, don't sign the Bad Boy.
Yeah.
But a lot of that had to do with the fact that Diddy was the face of Bad Boy. He's the main executive and he's the face of it. So it's difficult to remove. Like it's easy to attack him and not attack another person that's not the face of the label because they're just an executive and they're doing the same or worse. You know what I'm saying? So
I mean, obviously we don't know. We're not on the inside. I just thought it was an interesting story. And we'll see how it pans out. Like, I don't know if maybe they have a conversation offline and maybe they agree to something. I think that's more than possible. I just think that when I saw this story, I'm like, you got to watch how black people do you, especially black people who are in positions of power, because in honor of Black History Month, you'll have black people who say, oh, fuck the industry or fuck this, and they'll do you the same way. So to black people, a lot of black people, money is their God. It is. Mm-hmm. They will use money in the same way that the white man will use money or the Asian man will use money. They will do you the same way. And in some cases, they will do you dirtier because they feel like you and them have something more in common, which you might. But if you choose to put money before that, then you don't have, it's not more important. So it's just one of those situations. In honor of Black History Month, love black people. That's one sentence. The next sentence is watch these black people too. I wouldn't even be honest if I didn't say that, because the inner workings of blackness sometimes has to do with money. And if you're not also honest about that when it comes to your relationship with somebody, then you're just under a false assumption that y'all cooler than this or it's better than that. No, it's not. In some cases, money makes a lot of people black. Brother. It's brother talk. It's brother talk when it's money involved.
Oh, that's my bro.
Right. It's bro and brother. It's bro and brother talk when money is involved. But that might not be your true blue like that. And that's okay. Just know who those people are and know who those people aren't. That's all I'm saying.
I know you have some other things you want to talk about, but I want to bring something up real quick. And
I
want to ask people in the room to comment on this. What do you think about, let me make sure I ask this the right way. When you see older people that get on, not old, but just say like they're just older than you, or maybe older than me, like because I'm older than you, but they may be a little older than me. So they're not really millennials. They're like Generation X. And they get on like social media for the first time, or they get on Instagram for the first time, and they start posting weird shit that normally people don't post on there, like weird photos or weird like statuses. And I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't meant for this. Because I've been
give an example. Our parents. How parents do Facebook. Oh, I forgot about those chain mails and that's real.
It's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So even just like selfies, right? Like you just posting a selfie. Like you just of yourself. Like just a dude, grown ass man posting a selfie, and you like in your 40s. Like, come on. But they don't know it. This is weird. Like this. Now you could post selfies like a few years ago. It was like cause there was no rules to it. Like it was a lot of weird stuff. But now it's pretty consistent how people use social media, and like when you just see the dude like lean back and it's just his face, and I'm just like, man.
Yeah,
But even if you fresh, it's just like awkward, and it's not because I don't think women and men take the same types of photos. But
yeah.
I've seen some men that are not necessarily attuned to the social media world that are just getting on there, and for whatever reason, they posted these photos, and I know these people in real life, and they're not actually weird people; they're actually regular people. But I'm like, damn, like this is weird, or like this status is weird. Like it's too much. Like you just gotta chill a little bit, like relax. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a thing.
I'll keep it real. I would be a weird selfie poster, but I don't do it. So I would be one if I did though. What I mean, I know my limitations, and also all the pictures that I have of myself are usually pictures that somebody else took because I feel like that it just makes more sense and it looks more natural, I guess, of a picture. I am not good at taking pictures of myself. That's not a talent I have, it's not, and it's not even something I want to explore. It's just like that's not my thing. I'm not gonna do it. Yeah, exactly. I've owned it. So maybe those guys, because it's new to them, like you said, they just got on. Maybe they just don't know it yet, but they're probably gonna understand pretty quick by the reception. Like, nah,
they're not gonna understand.
This ain't gonna work
because nobody tells them. Nobody's saying it on this. They're just looking.
Because it's hard. The young people are savants with picture taking. So it's so noticeable now, right? Like if you were somebody back in the day who you missed the wave of Facebook, you missed the wave of Instagram, and now you trying to get in on 2020, you know how much it's evolved in the last 3 years, like picture taking and like the angles in the filters and the lighting. Like this thing has changed in the last 3 years. So if you got your dad taking a picture in the bathroom, like against the mirror, you know what I'm saying? That's not gonna work. And I feel bad for him. Maybe you should. Do they have anonymous messages on anything?
So
I'm gonna say maybe you could just send them like, bruh, this ain't it.
You be wanting to, but you don't want to, make nobody feel
Damn,
bad.
that's rough.
I've told people, like family members, I'm like, this shit look weird, cuz, like, take this shit down. But, like, they don't care. Like, they don't care, right?
They not.
Because it's a special type of person. Like I got a cousin, like, he don't really care. He be posting, but he know, the difference with him, he knows this shit look funny sometimes. But he'll act serious, but he posts wild shit on purpose. So that's a little bit different. Like, he posts some provocative stuff that'll get him banned, like, statuses on like Instagram, on Facebook. But he knows this. He's not like, but some people don't know, right? And I didn't know that he knew until I talked to him. And then but he's a wild dude anyway. So it's just like, oh, okay, I get it. You know what I'm saying? But some people don't think. Some people just think they being sexy on there, and they posted a sexy photo, but in reality, because you know what it is, and I just came up with this just now, so I don't know if this is true. But say you like you're a man and you follow a lot of women, so you think that the way that they take their pictures is the way you should take your pictures. And in reality, it's not. it doesn't look the
What
same.
you mean a man taking a picture as if a woman takes a picture?
No, the types of pictures that some women take that maybe that they follow.
Oh, I got you.
Maybe they
And
are
you take
seeing
the
that
same
as
picture.
an example of the pictures they should take because maybe that's the majority of what's in their feed, and in reality, it doesn't look the same when you take it because you're a man, and like we just don't look the same, right? I just came up with that.
I'm confused. I'm confused.
If dudes take selfies,
Okay.
it's not because they see other dudes taking selfies. It's because they see women taking selfies. Because they maybe 90% of the people you follow on Instagram are women. So you think that this is the type of photo you should be posting because you follow 90% women. But you don't know there's actually more flattering photos that you could take, but you wouldn't know this because you just got on here and you only follow women.
All right, yeah, that's a little deep for me. I don't know, but I kind of get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
I also think it's like as a man, like what are you willing to embrace? Because like you could take a selfie just as wild and intricate as like we take, but it's like, are you comfortable with that? And I feel like if you're not comfortable with that, it shows, and that's all that really matters. You know, because if you're comfortable with it, taking these quote unquote feminine angles,
It ain't even feminine. It's not feminine. So that's why I don't want to say that they're feminine.
okay.
I want to say that they just aren't flattering.
Okay.
But with a woman taking the same photo, it would be flattering. It's normal. But for a man, it doesn't seem like feminine. It's not a feminine photo. It's just like it seems like what's the point?
I think what you're getting into also is like how women are encouraged to like, for example, with selfies. Selfies are like show your face, show how cute you are, right? I feel like women are encouraged to do that, and men necessarily aren't. So like that's why it's kind of weird because like the culture of like how like women should present themselves and how men should present themselves is different. Like if, honestly, when we see guys on Instagram that just man selfies, it's kind of weird. But why is it weird? Because like, oh, so he think he's super cute? Like who told him he's so cute? You know what I mean? But a girl is like, oh, you're so cute. You know?
What if the dude was cute? Would it be okay if he took a lot of man selfies?
It would be okay, but I'd still be skeptical.
It'd be skeptical.
You're too into yourself.
Yeah, like you're
But I feel that
parading.
way about women too. Like that post too many
They
pictures.
get more of a pass, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Just from my personal experience.
No, I agree
Like,
100%.
it's like, wait a minute.
I'm old now, 34, and I don't feel like I'm out of the game in terms of no, I'm out of the.
I'm 34.
No,
I'm
no,
out
no,
of the game.
no.
Man.
I meant in terms of caring. I don't think I ever really cared. People know me. Know I've never
You
really
get your
cared.
hair done every week.
No, I'm talking about Instagram. I'm not talking about myself, although I need to probably do that, care about myself a little more. But I'm a little bit out of the game. So what that means is now, like, I can maybe objectively see things. And to you all's point, I think that if you're a young lady nowadays, no, it does pay. It certainly pays to have a a nice Instagram. It does, because if people don't know you, or if you might be doing things, it does pay. In terms of just kind of having that. Now, I think if I'm a guy, you're right. You got to be careful, because if you're trying to, like, guys are usually the pursuers, not the pursuees. And I think that women, if it is a hetero situation, they want to be sure that you are more into them than you are yourself and all that. So if you're always taking pictures, right? Yeah, like if you're always posting up pictures of yourself, when y'all get together, she probably gonna be like, all right, cuz you gotta slow that down. Like, even if she don't say that, she might feel that way. Like, all right, like, why you still trying to put yourself out there like that? But the same is vice versa for women. I know a lot of women who are in relationships that put themselves out as if they're not, in the name of, like, what do you call it? What's that phrase that everybody's running with now? It's like empowerment, like female empowerment. Like, picture taking is empowering. Like, so they might put a status that makes their booty look good, but then they might talk about, like, women's rights. And it's like, all right. Like, all right. Like, I get it. But no,
you know,
like not on Instagram. Like you want people to look at your booty.
You know,
and,
I get it.
And it's okay if you want people to look at your booty. I know it's not okay for you to say you want people to look at your booty because then you're gonna come off as conceited and corny. But don't try to go to the polar extreme and try to give a woke status with a booty picture. Like just don't say nothing or don't show your booty. Maybe just show your smile.
You're breaking my heart right now.
I'm sorry. I don't.
Both can be true. You can be a booty popping Instagram girl and also be a lawyer fighting for activism on the daily at your 9 to 5 and on the weekends. You can be a bad bitch.
Both can be.
Be here for the people.
Both can be true. Both can be true. I'm just wondering. You're right. They're not mutually exclusive. And I know a lot of people who both are true. I'm just thinking about why must there be some type of shell when it comes to what people are perceiving? Because if your booty is looking nice, just be like, oh, my booty's looking nice. And if it's not, if you don't want to say it, maybe just post a little smirk or something like that. But if you want to post the woke status with the booty looking nice, I have a dilemma. I have a dilemma. As the receiver of this, I'm like, damn, do I go here? Or do I go here? Like, I just wanted to look at the booty, but now I got to think about all of the things that come along with this. And that's just too much. That's just too much for my brain to take. I'm like, okay, all right.
I've had very close.
I'm gonna go back now.
Inner access to this world for a little while, right? So I realized it's pretty silly because like a lot of it is about women's empowerment and perception, but then it's also about attention.
That's what I'm gonna say. Is it?
It's really about attention.
Yes.
And it's not for everybody. It's not the same for everybody, but there are some people that they really are seeking attention in whatever way they can formulate it to make it seem, like you said, not
like
corny.
they're not. Right, like they're not.
Because like this, but what is anybody posting anything for, right? What am I posting anything on social media for? Somebody's going to see it. People like what's the word you want to use?
That feeling. I forgot what I know what you're talking about.
Like they like the likes. It's like the dopamine shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not to say that it's unique. Anybody that's on there likes. Oh, I got 105 likes today. Like for somebody, that's not enough. For somebody, they need like if they got 500, they be like, okay. That's enough.
That's unreal.
But for somebody else,
I couldn't even imagine that. That's crazy. Right? Like your phone would have to be buzzing all day. That probably would be like.
But you don't unless you see it, unless you're around somebody.
180 more people.
Unless you're around somebody that actually gets these types of likes.
Yeah, I don't know anybody like that.
Then you realize that sometimes people actually check this shit, and I'm like, that's just wild that you're actually checking.
There has to be. Well, why would you not? If
not the numbers, but like you're looking like to see like. And I'm like, this, come on. Like, this is like, it's a limit. Like, you can't check
I'll say this
all the time. Now, it depends on how often you post, too, right?
I'm not somebody who has those type of likes, but I'm saying if I was somebody who had 500 likes, and let's say, like, I had a picture and it had 500 likes, which is a lot. That's unbelievable if it's real. I think that's just crazy that so many people like your picture. But if that happens, and then you post another picture, and then there's like 211 likes. And then you might be thinking like, damn. What was wrong with this picture?
What's wild, though?
That wasn't wrong with this picture because now half of the people didn't like it.
There's nothing wrong with it. It's the algorithm. The algorithm bases the shit on
they didn't on like skin.
Whatever the people are going to see it, they're not going to either like it or not. It's just like certain shit is going to get seen more based on the algorithm. The algorithm changes so much.
Okay.
Right.
So if you're posting like something that like the algorithm likes, it's going to be.
But it's
people
based
are
on what
see
you post on a regular basis.
Right. Okay.
So like if you post music posts all the time, and then you just post a fitness post one day, people might not see that shit. Like a few people may see it, but.
So you got to stay true to the selfies if you're going to post them, because if you post something different, then people aren't going to see that. But then that will affect your likes.
I will say this:
if you post,
what else is funny? it's a little fucked. The person with 20,000 followers
Whoa.
that gets 600 likes, and a person with 3,000 followers that gets 600 likes. That shit has to make the person with 20,000 followers question what the fuck are they doing.
I feel like some of them are like bots and like just people that
Mm-hmm.
the engagement rate doesn't make sense. It's like 20,000 and 600
Mm-hmm.
between 3,000 and 6. That makes more sense than the 20,000. So when I see that difference, I'm just like half of these people are fake followers or bot followers that
Mm-hmm.
they were trying because there was a few people who were buying followers.
Yeah, I remember at least hearing about that, which I thought was fascinating. But I also, and we talked about it on the show, I also was a bit naive as it related to how people really used Instagram and how lucrative it was for people business wise. There were people making a lot of money off the fact that they had a lot of likes. So, if you're somebody who's maybe trying to mimic the career of somebody who's doing that, you got to be on par with their Instagram page. So if their Instagram page, have 50,000 followers, then if you want to do what they do, your shit got to have 50,000, and you're getting paid based off that. So I was very naive to that. I thought that, Instagram was just a place, where you hang out. And I didn't know it was a place where people was making money and doing all this stuff. So, I was like, damn, I'm old for real because I don't even realize how
if you
want to
go buy some followers, go buy some damn followers. Fuck it.
I mean, I don't, but
I don't care.
I don't. But how much does anybody know how much they cost? Anybody?
Who knows?
Is it expensive? Yeah, I'm about to say it must not be
I don't
crazy.
think. I think now they're a little bit more. If you're starting off now, you're trying to buy followers, you may get caught.
And you told me about the blue check thing. I had no idea about that. I didn't know that there was like some type of Instagram hierarchy to where you were a real Instagram person versus a regular Instagram person. I don't even understand it now. Like,
some people aren't actually famous.
Or like when you have an amount of following.
No.
Yeah, he was telling me
Some
that
people are not
you have to apply
famous.
like you apply to college. You got to apply to get a blue check.
And they ain't famous.
But I don't understand. It's crazy. You have to apply to it.
Yeah, on Twitter you have to also apply to be verified. Yeah, they'll check why do you want to be verified? Yeah, maybe a restaurant can be verified.
That makes sense.
Or if you're if you're an artist, they'll ask you for I'm an artist, I want to be verified.
And verified means you're amongst the elite of the social media world.
Supposedly.
That's how you perceived. Okay.
This person is verified, or a verified person follows me, or
Oh God.
There are people with less than 10,000 followers with blue checks. They just know people, but they're not famous. They just know the right people, and they're in the right circles, and they might have money, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. They may have some type of capital, whether it's social capital.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
Well, enough about that. It's cool. It's actually fascinating to talk about. But I did want to talk about this vision I keep having before we get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm gonna try to turn it into a real commercial, or maybe something bigger. So I started having this vision maybe about 2 weeks ago. So here's the scene. 2 black men walking up the street, right? They're about 300 feet to 200 feet away. I don't know if that's too far. Let's say about 200 feet away from each other. They see each other, but they're not paying attention. Maybe one has in his headphones, the other's kind of bopping. One's going to work. He's dressed the part, right? Maybe he's got on a coat, a suit, or something like that. And the other looks like, they're just going to hang out, right? So as they get closer, as these 2 people get closer, they notice each other, but they try not to look at each other. So it's one of those situations where have you ever just been on the street, you see people, but you don't want to look at them? It's you see them though, but you don't want to look at them. It's that situation. Maybe they're tired, maybe they're irritated, whatever, maybe a lot of things. So as they get closer and get closer, they're both still playing this part of seeing each other but not looking at each other. So now they're about 10 feet apart, right? And now they lock eyes. So now both of them are looking at each other right in the eyes. And as they keep walking, they kind of continue to look at each other in the eyes until they pass. Now they're past each other. And they didn't, like, their heads didn't follow each other when they passed each other. They locked eyes and they kept walking. So the guy who was walking that looked like he was going home or just to go hang out, he takes about 6 steps past, and then what is in my mind now as a telephone cord gets wrapped around his neck. And now he's choking, and he's holding it like he's trying to, get like a finger in between it, and he's choking, and then it goes black. And I'm like, damn, why do I keep having this vision, right? What does this vision mean? Why am I having it? Why do I continue to have it? And I think part of it is there is a part of me that is not content with the fact that I pass a lot of black men, and there is an unspoken tension there. I don't know what it is. Sometimes it's not there, but a lot of times it is there.
You scared?
I'm not, because I don't feel afraid. It's not a matter of like feeling like somebody's going to do something to me. I've been in way worse situations, so I don't feel like that. But I do notice there's a tension, a general tension, huh? I think it could be a lot of things. I think that there is energy between these two people, whether it's me and whatever. There's a certain energy that's in between these two people that I don't feel like's been reconciled, because sometimes it's a head nod still. You might sense the tension. It's a head nod. Sometimes it's not. I'm usually always the people, particularly among black people, I'll speak. Or if I'm looking at you, because of how I was raised and where I'm from, if I'm looking at you, I'll acknowledge you, especially if I'm looking in your face. I was taught not to look in people's face, period. But if you look in people's face, you speak. Because looking in somebody's face and not speaking is confrontational. That begets confrontation. Because all it takes is somebody say, what the fuck is you looking at, right? And now you got to respond with something. And it might not have been nothing. It might have just been you was looking in their face, but you just shouldn't do that. So I think there's just a part of me that has been in this city for a long time, and I'm maybe starting to, I've always felt it, but I'm really starting to take notice of, like, maybe what is the root, right? What is the root of this tension? Because now I've lived with it for a while. Now I almost say I'm on the other side. Like, I might not even care, but I'm like, damn, what would it take to acknowledge the person from 200 feet away, right? And like, is not acknowledging somebody indicative of like a bigger issue of like, because once you don't acknowledge somebody once and you see them again, if you don't acknowledge them, then now you have a history of not speaking. So now you strangers, but you're not so strange strangers. So that person might have all these different thoughts in their head about you, and you might have all these different thoughts in your head about them, And I think that, I don't know, something is, but the dude dies. I didn't die, or the dude walking, I didn't die. The rope ain't around my neck, right? And I think that maybe that's some gentrification stuff in there, because ideally, I mean, I think that people, when they look at certain people like that, part of them wish they wasn't there, and then they not. But when they're dead, it's like, who's responsible? Because in the vision, I don't know if the dude was the one who choked him. The dude, the dude in the suit. I don't know if he choked him. It just showed hands grabbing the dude's neck, you know. But I be thinking that sometimes I be looking at these young dudes on the corner all day. I'm like, damn, dog, like you're not gonna make it. You're not gonna make it out here because you don't really have a whole lot of constructive time on your hands, and it's only a matter of time before something might happen. It's just because the odds, you always outside. You know, you might not be doing things that are constructive. You always outside. So I don't know, but this shit has been in my head though.
That's interesting. I think I don't really have a answer, but I do have thoughts around that. I do think that it is a weird thing that we live in communities that aren't really communities. It's just places where people live, and you see the same people all the time that live right by you, but you don't talk to them. And it's not like it's new. It's not like when I grew up, it was like I knew everybody on my street.
Right,
either.
right,
So,
right.
But yeah, I think it's definitely like society is different and it's getting weirder and weirder. So like I think it makes sense sometimes not to talk to people because people are weird as fuck. But maybe that's not an excuse. You know what I'm saying? Like especially if you see people and they're like they're still a person. They may not actually be weird. Like you don't really know. You're just assuming the worst off top.
Right.
But yeah, so if we have these discussions about community this and we want to change this and change that, but we know in reality, like people ain't really trying to connect with people like that. It's like a pseudo community. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either, man.
It starts with us though, like the connection you want to make, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny you bring that up because on my way over, well, you know, we have those situations every single day.
As women, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm right.
But with women, like there was this Instagram post and it was like a 2020, may it bring you black girls who smile at you. And like I was walking over here and like same thing. There's a black woman, older black woman to my left. I see her in the cut coming down K. I'm coming up K, and like I see her looking at me. I'm looking at her, and we make eye contact, and then I look away. And then as we get closer, I look her in the face, and I'm like, "Have a good evening." And she's like, "Oh, you have a good evening. You're so cute. I love your hair, girl. Oh my God, have a great evening." And I was like, interesting, because sometimes I do that, and sometimes I don't.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you really do pick and choose. I really do think it's a case by case thing. And like in New York, that's like no one does that. You know what I mean? But
Mm-hmm.
I feel like only because I'm in DC, I feel a little bit more comfortable doing that. So
Mm-hmm.
I do think like it's different with black women. Race plays into it, gender
Mm-hmm.
plays into
Mm-hmm.
it, and then location, like the culture of the city.
I would like to be that dude. Hey, how you doing today, brother? Just talking to everybody walking up the street. Oh, all right, now it's good to see y'all today. People
Yeah.
don't even know, like, but that's not a thing. But it was. So I would say this though. I spent my summers with my dad and my grandparents on my dad's side. So I was in Columbus, Ohio, and in West Virginia. And in West Virginia, everybody talked to everybody. It was like weird to me because it was annoying being with my grandparents and like riding around. Everybody wait, like you gotta stop. Oh, we gotta go talk to such and such. But you know they was retired too, so it's like a whole different. But yeah, so there are examples where I could say I was in a place where that was a thing. But you know, we live in a city, man. The city's hot. You gotta be careful out here. So you do what you want to do. You can talk to everybody if you want, but me, I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna talk to some people. If you want to talk to me, that's fine. But I'm not gonna be that person. Hey, how you doing today? Unless I actually know you, 'cause it's too much going. It's too much foolery going on.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a depth of. I think it's a depth thing because you know, like you said, realistically, it may not be. You know, it may not even be realistic to talk to everybody you pass on the street. But also, I think in your spirit, in your soul, you need to have some type of awareness of like the energy and the connection that exists between you and other people. You know, and if you are continuing to choose to like shut that down, there's a consequence. There's something that comes along with that. Now, it might not happen. You know, nothing may ever happen, right? But there is some type of effect to that, like to the fact that your energy, your spirit, is shutting certain connections down from jump. You know, in a way that is probably, you know, prejudice as fuck in a way. You know, like you probably are thinking thoughts that aren't cool. So I'm just gonna figure this out. You know, hopefully I stop having this vision in my brain, because it is in my brain, or hopefully I can have somebody help bring it to life and we can show y'all.
No, don't bring that
one
shit
of
to
these
life.
days, you know.
All
I
right, it's
think it
time to
might
go,
be.
guys.
Yes.
I'm Vic.
And I'm Austin.
This is the Intellectual Cool Show.
All right, y'all.
Peace.